Hello, and welcome to the Nucleus cochlear implant family. You're about to begin a significant new journey, the first use of your Cochlear Nucleus 5 system. The Nucleus 5 system is specifically designed so that it can be customized to meet your unique needs and provide you with the best possible outcomes. Your initial fitting session is the first step in this journey. To make this process as easy as possible, Cochlear has developed an initial fitting checklist that you and your audiologist can follow as you begin to use the Nucleus 5 system for the first time. In this video, you will see an example of what your initial fitting session might look like. Let's begin. Okay, David, so you have your sound processor on, and what I'd like to do now is show you all of your equipment and show you how I put it together. Okay. I'm going to use a checklist that I'm going to give to you after we're done today. Okay. And what's nice about the checklist is that on the back of it, we've got some pictures for you with labels of all of the parts. The other thing that I'm going to give to you is this little getting started guide. What we're going to be going through is all in this little booklet as well, which will fit in your pocket, which is great. Okay?
Cool.
So that's for you. We're going to start by putting together all the parts of the demo processor so that you see how everything goes together, okay? Everything comes in these nice boxes, which I want you to hold on to, because what we're going to ask you to do if anything ever breaks is to use the box so that you can send it back to Cochlear and it's nice and secure and you won't need a lot of packaging.
Right.
So the first part is the sound processor, or the processing unit. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the box. So this is the part of the operation that is the brains. Everything happens here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this down, and we're going to put together the battery compartment. So we're going to be using the 2 Zinc Air batteries.
Okay.
And so this is the battery holder right here. Take that out. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attach it to the sound processor. So it's a slight angle and it just twists on like that. Now I'm going to show you how to put the batteries in. These are going to be the Zinc Air batteries, the Power One Implant Plus. We're going to give you a nice good supply of these to get you through for a while. When you run out, we're going to have you order those from Cochlear because they've determined that these are the best batteries for your processor. If you get in a pinch and you have to get them from a drugstore, it'll be okay, but you may not get very good battery life, okay? So what I'm going to do is take these 2 out and show you how they go into the unit. What you're going to do is just lie them in flat. So the positive side of the battery is the flat side, and that just goes in. It is marked with a plus, but they just go in flat like that.
Well, and they also have the deformation in there, so they will only go in the correct way. Right?
They will only go in the correct way. That's right. Notice how the back of the processor is silver. Okay? The back of this battery cover is also silver, so it's just going to slide right on just like that. We've got the whole processor and battery compartment put together now. So obviously we need to put a coil on there, so I'm going to show you that next. This part right here is the coil, and we ordered you the nice charcoal gray. We're going to put a magnet in the coil, of course, which is right here. I think we have a good strength of magnet for you, but one thing that we'll be paying attention to and that you might have your wife look at is to make sure that when the coil is on your head, it's not too tight. And the way that you would know that is if there was any redness or any puffiness of the skin. What we do is we put it in from the top down. There's a number on the back of it, number 5. That's the strength for you. We're going to just put it in the top and screw it in. So what we're going to do next, David, now is put the cable in, okay? So here's your coil cable. And I think we have a good length for you. It's sitting nicely on your ear. And you can see we've got sort of a U-shaped portion and then a curved portion. Okay? So The U-shaped portion is what we are going to plug into the actual coil itself. It just snaps right in.
These are one way together only, or it can go either way?
Just one way.
Okay.
And then this other end is what goes into the sound processor. And it does curve downwards. And then when it's on your ear, it looks like that. Okay? So you shouldn't most likely have to change this too often. But the nice thing is that it is now two pieces. Because if something's going to go wrong, it's probably going to be the cable and not the coil itself. So to remove it, all that you need to do is just pull from the strain relief, okay? Don't pull from the cable, but pull from the strain relief. Just snap it right out, okay? And then it's easiest to get your fingernails just sort of in the groove there and then pull that right out. You see that that came out, okay? And so this would be the part that probably would be the problem. And what we're going to talk about here shortly, the remote assistant will tell you actually what part is the problem if there is something that breaks, okay? So there's batteries in it, so what we're ready to do is go ahead and turn it on. You've got two buttons. There's an upper button and a lower button. And what we want to do is use the lower button to turn it on. And I'm going to press and hold it. And what happened was I got a green light, just a single green blink. And what that told me was that it turned on and it's on program 1. Now I've got an orange light blinking, and that's because it's not on your head. To turn it off, I would do the same thing. I would just press and hold that bottom button. I'll see again that amber or orange light, and I'll let up on the button and it will be off. The other thing to know about this is that I've set this up for you so that if it's off of your head and sitting on your nightstand, for instance, for 2 minutes or more, it will turn itself off. What I want to do now is show you how to change programs. It's in program 1 because when I turned it on, it blinked one green blink. Now, to change programs, I'm just going to press that button again quickly, and it did 2 green blinks. And again, it's going back to the amber light after I make a change because it's continually telling us that it's not on your head. If I press it again, that lower button, it's going to give us 3 green blinks, telling us program 3. One more time with a quick press, 4 green blinks, program 4, and then back to program 1. Now the next thing that I want to show you, we're following our checklist here that I'm going to send home with you, is how to lock the buttons. So if you were ever maybe wearing a hat or a helmet or something and you were afraid that maybe your buttons would get bumped and change your programs without you wanting it to, you can lock the buttons on your processor. So to do that, what I'm going to do, so we talked about that upper button, I'm going to press that upper button and that lower button at the exact same time. Just quickly. And what happened was it did a green blink and then an orange blink. And now if I try to do something, it's going to just give me an orange blink every time because I've locked your buttons. Now I'm going to unlock it with the same thing, exact same time, both of them together. And it's going to do orange then green. Now if I try that program change again, it worked because it's unlocked. So exact same time, just quickly, it'll lock it, and then exact same time, quickly again, it will unlock it. Something else that you might like is a locking feature that locks these two parts together. So I'm going to turn this processor off. Now these two parts come apart, but for you, since you're using the disposable batteries, what you're mainly going to be doing is taking this part off and changing the batteries. So what you might like is to have these two parts not come apart. So I'm going to show you how that works. Now for a young child, this is important because we don't want them taking their processor apart. But for you, it's a convenience. So what I'm going to do is lift up this little hatch right here, and underneath there is a little latch that I'm going to move to the left with a screwdriver. So left means locked. Cochlear gives you this little screwdriver in your kit. One end is a writing pen and the other end is a screwdriver. So I imagine you'll find some other uses for that. So I'm just going to slide this lock over to the left. And once I get it all the way to the left, I'll put the hatch back down. Now, if I try to twist it apart, it's not going to come apart. If you were a little one though, I just want to tell you that this is here. If you happened, or if you were leaving your processor stored maybe with batteries in it and a young child was at your house, you might want to lock the battery module. So there's one last lock here that I'm going to show you. See that little, looks like a screw, but it's not a screw. It's really just an on-off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that gently clockwise to a horizontal position, and that will lock that cover and keep any little fingers from getting those batteries out. So now, if I try to pull that off, it's not coming off. To unlock it, which you'll probably leave it in that state most of the time is unlocked, I turn it counterclockwise back to vertical. So I have your remote assistant here for you and ready to go. First of all, it happens to be locked. That means if you had it on your belt and you bumped a button, it wouldn't change anything. But we're going to lift it up so that it's ready to go. And what we're going to do is press this Cochlear button. That's kind of your home screen. It's going to be your on and your off, and it's going to help you get back to home. So I'm going to go ahead and press and hold that. And we're going to watch for the Cochlear logo, and there it is. And it's going to come on. And it's first going to tell me that the battery is fully charged. So it gave us a shot of a remote assistant with a battery icon showing us a full battery. So we know that your battery is charged. Now, what you'll notice is that the first thing it's telling us is that we need to pair. We're going to instruct this remote assistant that we want it to communicate with your sound processor. So when it's not paired, the very first screen that comes up is the pairing screen. Notice that there are these buttons around the screen. We call those soft keys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this soft key next to the word pair and watch what happens. Now it's giving us an instruction. It's got an arrow pointing to a button on the sound processor. What it wants us to do is go ahead and turn on the sound processor. So it's pointing to the bottom button, which remember is our on and off button. I'm going to go ahead and turn that on, and what it's telling us right off the bat is that the coil is not on your head. If I press this Cochlear button to acknowledge that, it now tells us we're back in the pairing screen. And if you happened to have two implants, we'll pair two. And so what we'll have is this one remote assistant talking or communicating with both of your processors. But I wanted to just show you how it pairs. So I'm just going to hit that middle button again. And this is the home screen. This is what you're going to see most of the time. When we were playing with your processor, we left it in program 2. And the way that I know that is that there's an icon in the middle of the screen that says noise. And so we've set you up with an everyday program, a noise program, a focus program, and a music program. What's great about the remote assistant is you can just press the button corresponding to the program you want to use, and you're automatically in that program. So what I'm going to show you now is how to change the program. These are 1, 2, 3, and 4, which I can also number them for you. I'll show you that. But I'm going to put you in your music program just as an example by pressing this upper right soft key. So to change the programs, all you need to do is press the button next to the program you want to use. So now we talked about sensitivity and volume. So remember, sensitivity is just how big your circle of sound is. So if you want to hear more from further away, you increase your sensitivity. If you want to hear just what's close to you, like in a noisy place, you bring your sensitivity down. To adjust your sensitivity, you're going to press either side of these side buttons. And so you can increase it or decrease it. The thing to know about this is that there's going to be a little hatch mark which will tell you where I had you set when you leave today. And remember, we're in demo mode, so anything we're looking at right now is a little artificial. The next thing that you want to do is you may need to either increase or decrease the volume depending on what it is you're trying to hear. And so for the volume, what you'll want to do is you'll want to press either the up or the down arrow. It goes from 1 to 10. And so I can increase that or decrease that. And again, we've got the little hatch mark telling us where I have you set. So if you get lost, you can get back to where I had you set if that's what you want to do. So those are your volume and your sensitivity settings. So all that I really want you to be able to do with the remote assistant at this point is I want you to be able to change your programs, I want you to be able to adjust your sensitivity or your volume, and I want you to remember how to lock it, which is the lock down on the side, so that if you're wearing it on your belt or if a woman had it in her purse, it wouldn't get accidentally bumped and have the programs or settings change on you. So we're going to talk a little bit about the phone now. What we have found with the Nucleus 5 sound processor is that you can hold the phone pretty naturally. And so what you'll do is when you pick up the phone, you'll hold it just right about there. That's just about right. And so I'm going to show you a couple of things on how you would activate the phone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold this side button here. And now we've got an icon that is green and white, and it says auto. All right. And what will happen when you hold up the phone to your processor is that icon, once the processor detects speech coming through the telecoil, this is going to turn to black. And as long as you're on the phone, it will be detecting speech and working just the way the telecoil would manually. But what's nice about it is that as soon as you hang up the phone, within about 10 seconds of there being no speech, the telecoil will start to turn itself off and the microphones will come back on and you'll no longer be in telecoil. What I would suggest that you practice with is Cochlear has something called Phone with Confidence, and it's an 800 number. I'm going to give you that information, but don't be too hard on yourself about the phone in the beginning because it's not always easy. For the auto phone, you would just press and hold that side button. Now if I want to get out of that, I can just press that side button. What it's going to do is now see we have a black telecoil icon. That's telling us we're in the manual telecoil. So that means that you want control over when the telecoil comes on and off. You don't want the processor determining that. What this is useful for is like music. If you want to listen to music through your telecoil, you would activate the manual telecoil because the autophone is going to react to speech. So the autophone is really for the phone, and if you want manual control of the telecoil, you just press the side button on the remote assistant. Now if I press it again, we'll have no icon at all, and that tells us that we're not in the autophone, we're not in the manual telecoil, we're just in a normal program. If you find that you've left your remote assistant at home and you maybe don't want to be in autophone for some reason, if you press the upper button on your processor, it will basically deactivate the autophone feature, put you into a manual activation and deactivation of the phone and of the telecoil, and you can then have control over it that way. So manual telecoil and autophone.
And autophone.
Okay, so manual telecoil for music, autophone for phone. Right. Okay, and remembering that if you forget this, it's okay. You can always get to it on your processor. So your sound processor battery status Now, remembering that that home key is our favorite key, right? So when I press that, the first thing that happens is we get a processor changing from gray to green, and that's a system check that tells us everything is okay. Now, when I'm looking at this, now this again is demo mode, so it's showing me a battery with 2 segments. So it's telling me that my processor battery is about halfway gone. The other thing on this screen that's really nice is that I've got a microphone icon, and when I'm talking, it's telling me that sound is being picked up. So it's got this little segment meter here, and since we're in demo mode, it's a simulation. Okay. But what it's telling me is that my voice is being picked up by the microphone. Okay. So the battery status of your processor is there, and the system check that it did at the beginning there. And the other thing was, you noticed when we turned on our remote assistant, it gave us a battery check of the remote assistant also. So all those nice system checks. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is how to charge this. Your time on the remote assistant is going to vary based on how much you use it. So if you use it a lot during the day and leave it on all day, it'll be shorter than if you just check things in the morning and then turn it off. So you'll get an idea of how long your remote assistant life is based on what you find yourself doing with the remote.
So it's similar to processor battery life. The more used, the shorter the life.
Right. So for a sound processor, the more sound you're in, the faster you go through batteries.
Right.
Same with this. The more you use it, the faster you'll need to charge it. But Cochlear is suggesting that you charge it about once a week regardless. So I'm going to show you have a charging kit with some nice adapters for different countries. So it comes like this. I've already put together the US adapter for you, but you can see that you've got adapters for other countries also. So if you needed to take it out, it would just slide right out like that. And then you would slide in the one for the country that you're going to. This is a USB cable. One end, the bigger end, will go in like that. And then this end right here goes in to the bottom of the remote assistant. And then you would just plug that right into the wall. The other option is if you have a computer that's not hibernating, a computer that's on, you can unplug from there and just plug it in to a USB port on your laptop or your desktop computer and charge it up while you're working. Since I know that you sometimes work outside and maybe perspire a little bit, it's a good habit to put the processor in the drying unit overnight. And so Cochlear supplies a Zephyr unit from the Global Dry and Store company. This is the Zephyr, and it's going to just dehumidify your sound processor. And you can put your hearing aid in this as well. Because especially in the summer months, it's good, even though the processor is water resistant, to go ahead and just wipe it off with a soft cloth and then put it in the Zephyr every night and let it dehumidify. It'll extend the life of the processor. Now, as I mentioned, the sound processor is water resistant. What that means really, practically, is if you get caught in a rainstorm without an umbrella or a hood on your jacket, you'll probably be okay. What it doesn't mean is that you can go swimming with it or anything like that. So it's got a really nice level of protection, but you still have to take some precautions. Now, the remote assistant also has that same rating as the current Nucleus 5 sound processor rating, which is the rating that it can withstand splashing from any direction for about 15 minutes or so and still function. So if you are out in that rainstorm and it also gets wet, it'll probably be okay. So the last thing then that I want to give you is, so we talked about that when you get a new phone, you get a big book and you get the one that you mainly use. So your Getting Started guide is your go-to. Okay, especially during this beginning part, keep that in your pocket. But when you get home, you can read through your DocuPack. And this is your documentation on the sound processor and the remote assistant. And it also contains the warnings and precautions and things such as that. The last thing I want to show you out of this is the pocket card. And it's got some information for maybe like at an airport, if you were ever asked a question, you could pull this out of your wallet and show this. So I'm going to fill this out for you, and I'm going to have you put that right in your wallet before we're done today. But that's mainly what I wanted to get through today. And like I said, we'll spend some more time next time you come, and by then you'll probably have figured a lot of it out for yourself. Thanks for watching today. We hope that your Nucleus 5 journey is a special one, and we're always here should you need any assistance. Thanks again.